Let's talk about something that might shake a few beliefs, but needs to be said. Because if you're the kind of man who thinks the more love, attention, and care you give a woman, the more she'll love you back, then you've already lost the game before it even started. Today's topic might feel like a punch to the gut, but it's the harsh truth. The more you care for a woman, the less she'll respect you. Now, before you click away, thinking this is just another anti-woman rant, pause. This isn't about becoming cold, heartless, or disrespectful. It's about understanding how women respond to energy, attention, and power dynamics. You see, most men are taught from childhood that if you care more, give more, and constantly prove your worth, you'll win her heart. But in reality, that kind of behavior often triggers the exact opposite effect. Instead of earning respect, you get overlooked. Instead of appreciation, you get taken for granted. Why? Because women don't fall for men who pedestalize them. They fall for men they admire, men they chase a little, men who stay grounded in their purpose, not men who orbit around theirs. And here's where it gets real controversial. When you show too much care too early, it doesn't feel romantic to her. It feels weak. It feels needy. It feels like you're trying to buy her affection with your attention. And whether she admits it or not, that kills attraction. In this video, I'm going to break down why this happens, what mistakes you might be making without even realizing it, and how to flip the script, so you're respected, desired, and never seen as disposable again. Let's get into it. 1. Too available means no value. The more time you make yourself available to a woman, the less she feels the need to value it. It's one of the most common mistakes men make. You meet a woman you like, and without even thinking, you start giving her unlimited access to you. You reply to every text in seconds. You cancel your plans when she suddenly wants to meet. You're always around, always saying yes, always trying to prove that you care. What you don't realize is, every time you do that, you lower your value in her eyes. A man who is always available comes off as a man who has nothing else going on. No mission, no direction, no sense of purpose. You may think you're showing her love, but to her, it looks like desperation. She sees a man who's willing to stop his entire life just to be near her. And once that happens, she doesn't see you as someone she needs to earn. She sees you as someone she already has and doesn't need to work for. The truth is, value comes from scarcity. When your time is limited, it becomes more meaningful. When your presence has to be earned, it becomes exciting. But when you're always there, always ready, always chasing, she stops feeling anything. No curiosity, no mystery, no challenge. Let's say a guy just started dating a woman. He texts her, good morning, good night, checks in throughout the day, and makes himself available whenever she calls. For a few days, she might enjoy the attention, but very quickly it becomes routine. He becomes predictable. She knows she can get his time whenever she wants, without doing anything. So she stops appreciating it. She starts pulling away, replying late, canceling plans. He gets confused and tries harder. But it's already too late. He gave too much, too fast, and lost the one thing that keeps her interested. Value. Men need to understand. Being present is not the same as being available 24/7. You can care about a woman without making her the center of your schedule. You can show interest without becoming her emotional butler. Respect comes from balance. Attention means nothing if it's constant. Time means nothing if it's too easy to get. You want her to feel lucky when she has your time, not bored because she gets it every day. Stop giving unlimited access. Start making your presence earned. That's when she starts seeing you as a man worth keeping. 2. She doesn't want a servant. There's a big difference between being supportive and being submissive, and most men cross that line without even knowing it. You start off wanting to impress her, wanting to show her that you're dependable, caring, and different from all the other guys. But before you know it, you're doing too much. You're always offering help, always adjusting your schedule for her, always trying to prove your worth. And what you don't realize is, the more you act like a servant, the less she sees you as a man. Women don't fall for men they can control. They fall for men they can respect. And a man who's constantly seeking approval through action, doing her favors, solving her problems, saying yes to every request, starts to look like he's trying to earn her love. That energy is not attractive. It feels weak. It feels like you're trying too hard. And once she senses that, she begins to test you, consciously or not. She'll start expecting things instead of appreciating them. She'll ask for more, just to see how far you'll go. And when you never say no, when you never push back, when you never show that you have your own standards, she doesn't see a strong man anymore. She sees someone she can use. She might not even mean to use you. But when you hand everything over without making her work for it, how else is she supposed to react? Respect is built when she sees that you can lead, when you have boundaries, when you can say no without fear. But most men are afraid to do that. They think if they stop being overly helpful, she'll lose interest. What they don't realize is she's already losing interest because of how helpful they are. A woman doesn't want to feel like she's dating her employee. She wants to feel like she's beside a man who's solid, who has a life of his own, who supports her when it matters, but doesn't jump at every little demand. That balance is what creates desire. That balance is what keeps her respect strong. If you're constantly doing more than she is, constantly giving while she just receives, then you're not in a relationship. You're in a transaction. And eventually, she'll walk away from it. Not because you didn't give enough, but because you gave too much without making her earn it. Stop thinking being overly nice will win her over. Start being a man she can admire, not one she can order around. 3. Validation kills. Mystery. One of the biggest mistakes you can make with a woman is over-validating her. Compliments, praise, and attention are all important, but too much of it takes away the excitement. When you constantly shower her with praise, telling her how amazing she is every chance you get, you kill the one thing that keeps her interested. Mystery. Women, just like men, need space to wonder. When you give too much validation, you take away her ability to chase after something. You make her feel like she's already won you over. And once that happens, the thrill starts to fade. You're not making her earn your attention or affection anymore. You're handing it out like it's nothing. The thrill of the chase is real. When she doesn't know exactly where she stands with you, when she has to think a little to figure out what you're feeling, she becomes intrigued. It sparks something in her. But when you give too much validation too often, you remove that element. You make her feel like there's nothing left to discover. You've already given her all the answers. Constant validation also communicates something else. Desperation. It says that you need her approval to feel good about yourself. And women can sense that from a mile away. She doesn't want to be the one who holds all the power in the relationship. She wants to feel like there's something to earn, something worth working for. When you shower her with compliments and praise without any space, you turn her into a prize she doesn't need to compete for. Balance is key. Compliment her, of course. Let her know you appreciate her, but don't make her the center of your emotional world. If she knows you're always ready to validate her, she'll stop seeing your words as meaningful. They'll just become background noise. And when your words lose weight, so does your attraction in her eyes. Being too available with your compliments takes away the mystery, and mystery keeps a woman engaged. Let her wonder. Let her work to earn your attention. When she knows she's constantly being validated, she doesn't need to wonder about where she stands. And when that curiosity fades, so does her attraction. Let her earn your validation. Let her feel the chase. That's what keeps things exciting. And more importantly, that's what keeps her coming back. 4. Nice guys get ignored. It's time to face the truth. Being nice doesn't always win you the girl. In fact, most of the time it gets you ignored. And no, it's not that women hate kindness. It's that they can sense when your niceness is coming from a place of weakness rather than genuine respect or strength. Nice guys often believe that if they just treat a woman well, do the right things, and avoid conflict, she'll come around and fall for them. They think that by being constantly available, saying the right things, and putting her needs ahead of their own, they're showing love. But what they don't realize is, this approach often comes off as needy, not noble. You see, women want a man who's confident, self-assured, and has a backbone. They want someone who doesn't just say yes to everything they want. If you're always agreeing with her, always trying to please her, you're not standing out as a man of value. You're blending into the background. You're just another guy who's afraid to be himself, afraid to set boundaries, and afraid to stand firm on what he wants. The problem with being a nice guy is that it often comes with an underlying agenda. Something unspoken. You're being nice because you're hoping for a reward, usually her attention or affection. But women can see through that. They pick up on the fact that you're not being kind because it's your nature, but because you're trying to earn something. And that's not attractive. When you're always being nice, she starts to lose respect for you because it's no longer about her. It's about you getting something in return. She'll start seeing you as a friend, not a romantic partner. The emotional attraction fades because you're not presenting yourself as a challenge. You're not making her work for your attention. You've become predictable, safe, and, frankly, boring. To be clear, being kind isn't the issue. The issue is when being nice is your only tactic, when it's all you bring to the table. Women respect men who are genuine, men who are kind but also strong. They respect men who can stand up for themselves, men who know their worth and won't compromise it just to gain approval. When you're too nice, you rob yourself of that strength. You don't need to be rude or disrespectful to get her attention. But you do need to stop trying so hard to please her at the cost of your own identity. Stop overthinking every little thing you say or do. When you can be yourself, unapologetically, that's when you'll start to see real attraction. So, stop being the nice guy who always plays it safe and starts being the guy who knows his value, sets boundaries, and isn't afraid to be a little challenging. Only then will you stop being ignored and start being respected. 5. She tests what she doesn't respect. When a woman tests you, it's not always because she's trying to be difficult. In fact, most of the time, it's because she's trying to figure out whether you're worthy of her respect. If you notice her testing you in certain situations, whether it's with her actions, words, or even through indirect behavior, it's because on some level, she doesn't fully respect you yet. Tests can come in many forms. She might give you little challenges, push your buttons, or even act distant. These aren't always signs of her being uninterested. In many cases, they're her way of seeing how you respond. Does she respect you enough to trust you? Does she believe you're strong enough to stand your ground? The thing is, if she respects you, she'll rarely test you. She'll already know you have the qualities that make you a worthy partner. But if she's unsure, whether because you've been too available, too accommodating, or haven't shown her the strength she needs from a man, she'll start testing. She needs to feel that you have boundaries, a backbone, and the ability to stand up for yourself. Let's say a woman is constantly testing your patience. She might make a comment about something small, like a joke at your expense, or she might act distant to see if you'll chase after her. These kinds of tests are often unconscious, but they're there to see if you'll tolerate behavior that lacks respect or challenge her when she oversteps. If you give in to these tests, you're reinforcing her perception that you're someone who can be walked over. If you don't set boundaries or call out behaviors that don't align with respect, she'll start to believe that you don't have the strength to handle a real relationship. As a result, the attraction begins to fade. She'll start losing interest, because on a deeper level, she knows she can't rely on you to hold your own. However, if you handle these tests with calm confidence, and without reacting too emotionally, you show her that you respect yourself. When you remain composed and assert your boundaries, you make it clear that you won't tolerate disrespect. That's when the respect starts to build. For instance, let's say a woman keeps canceling plans last minute. If you continue to rearrange your schedule without calling her out, you're signaling that you're always available on her terms. But if you respond by saying something like, "I understand, but I'm not going to keep changing my schedule for someone who doesn't value my time," you're showing her that you have standards and won't tolerate being treated like an option. In the end, the key is to be consistent with your boundaries. Show her you have the emotional strength to deal with her tests without getting upset or needy. If she respects you, she'll stop testing. And that's when you'll start to see a much deeper level of attraction from her. 6. Overgiving looks desperate. When you're constantly giving, whether it's time, attention, or affection, without expecting anything in return, it might feel like you're doing the right thing. You might think that by being the good guy, the one who always shows up, always gives her what she wants, you'll win her heart. But in reality, overgiving makes you appear desperate, and desperation is one of the least attractive traits in a man. Overgiving happens when you put someone else's needs before your own, to the point where you lose sight of your own value. You think that by doing more, you're proving how much you care, how much you're willing to sacrifice for her. But when you're constantly giving without making her invest back, she starts to take it for granted. The more you give, the less you seem to matter. When a woman sees that you're always available, always eager to please, always putting her on a pedestal, it sends the message that you don't have anything better to do, that you're not busy living your own life or pursuing your own goals. You become the guy who's always there, but never truly valued. The truth is, people value what they have to work for. If you're always giving, always making sacrifices, you're taking away her opportunity to invest in the relationship. She doesn't have to earn your attention, affection, or time. You're essentially handing it to her, and that's not how you build respect or desire. There's a difference between being generous and being overly available. You can show that you care without losing your own sense of self. You can be attentive without becoming a doormat. Overgiving means you're prioritizing her needs to the point where you start to lose your own sense of identity. You stop being the man who had his own life, his own passions, and become someone who revolves around her every move. This isn't just about giving material things or doing favors. It's about giving too much of yourself emotionally, too. When you're always pouring your emotions into her without taking care of your own emotional needs, you're draining yourself. And when you drain yourself, you're no longer offering her the best version of you. You're offering her someone who's exhausted, eager for approval, and not focused on his own growth. Desperation shows when you're willing to give up too much, too soon, hoping she'll notice how much you care. But in reality, She might only notice how much you're willing to sacrifice for her, without ever asking for something in return. And that makes her lose respect, because it shows that you're not valuing yourself enough to maintain some boundaries. Overgiving doesn't get you closer to her, it pushes her away. When you stop overgiving, stop seeking her approval through actions, that's when you start showing her that you value yourself. That's when the attraction deepens, and she begins to see you as someone who has his own life, goals, and ambitions. Someone worth pursuing, not someone who's always chasing after her. 7. Respect comes from distance, not devotion. Here's a tough truth you need to wake up to. The more devoted you are to a woman, the less respect you'll get in return. Many men fall into the trap of thinking that by always being there, always proving your commitment, and putting her first, you're earning respect. But what really happens is you end up pushing her away. Men often confuse devotion with respect. They believe if they focus all their energy on a woman, she'll see their worth and love them more. But what she actually sees is someone who's become too available, too dependent. And that's not attractive. Respect is earned by maintaining your boundaries, having your own life, and not losing yourself in her. When you give too much, too often, she starts to take you for granted. You become the guy who's always there, always giving, but never making her work for your time or attention. Respect comes when you show that you have your own goals, your own ambitions, and that you're not just waiting around for her. Devotion without distance makes you seem weak. You need to have something more than just her in your life. When you're overly devoted, you lose your independence. You stop being the man who had his own passions, his own life. Instead, you become the guy who revolves around her every move. And that's not appealing. Think about it. When you prioritize her over your own needs all the time, you're showing her that you don't value yourself enough to maintain your boundaries. If you're constantly available, constantly putting her first, she'll start losing respect. She needs to see that you have other things going on, that your life doesn't revolve around her. If you don't, she'll think she's the center of your world, and that's not a position of respect. The truth is, devotion without distance is desperation. You become someone who's emotionally dependent on her, constantly seeking approval and affection. Women don't want a man who has nothing else going for him but her. They want someone who's strong, who can stand on his own, who has his own goals and priorities. When you stop overgiving, stop being so easily accessible, and start valuing your own time, you become more attractive. So stop the constant devotion. Be the man who's living his own life, who doesn't bend to her every whim. Respect comes from distance, not from devotion. The more you hold on to your boundaries and focus on your own growth, the more you'll earn her respect. Here's the thing most men won't tell you. The more you chase a woman, the more she'll lose respect for you. Yeah, I said it. That constant need for validation, the non-stop attention, the devotion without earning it, it all just screams desperation, and it's not attractive. Women don't fall for the guy who's always there, always giving, always available. They fall for the guy who has a life of his own, who isn't afraid to walk away when needed. If you're constantly pouring yourself into her without expecting anything back, you're not showing value, you're showing weakness. It's time to wake up and realize that respect isn't something you can earn by being overly devoted. It's earned by setting boundaries, living your own life, and making her realize that you're not someone she can just walk all over. If you keep sacrificing your life and your identity for her, don't be surprised when she pulls away. I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and let me know if you've ever been caught in this trap. I want to hear about your experiences and how you've handled it. Don't just watch this video, let's connect. Share what you've learned, what worked for you, and what didn't. I'll be personally reaching out to some of you to start a real conversation. This channel isn't just about advice. It's about creating a community of men who are ready to level up in their relationships and in life. So don't be shy, leave your thoughts below. Let's talk about it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.